Okay, there we go. Hey everybody, SPS Debo here. You just call me Debo. Been playing Final Fantasy 14 for a while now. Played Final Fantasy 11 back in the day, all that good stuff. And what I wanted to start doing is a lot of these dungeon videos, these EX videos, and these raid videos. I just wanted to kind of do these videos. I keep saying videos. I wanted to kind of put together some of my thoughts of what I do and what goes through my mind on these encounters. This is more for a tank perspective. If you're looking for something for a healer or DPS perspective, they have other videos out there. I know Miss Happy does really good stuff. MTQ Capture, they do a lot of good stuff in terms of just explaining the overall fight and what you guys need to do. So if you need one of those kind of videos, I say go over there and check those out. But here, if you're a tank and you're wondering about, what we should be doing in these types of fights, or, as a tank, like what can we do to make things a lot easier for the groups, that's what these videos are going to be here for. So without further ado, this is the Bismarck EX temp I had yesterday. Did this in a party finder on Zalira with just random people that just had the gear. Took us some attempts, took us about, I'd say about 5 hours. Just, because, time breaks and people need to go off and eat and switching a couple people out. I advise item level 170 for this. Do you have to be item level 170? No, but it makes it a lot easier. Anything higher than 170 is just fantastic. I think some people even beat this at 160, but you have to make sure your DPS rotations are on point and you actually have to hit the DPS checks. The gear that I used inside this was basically my whole left side was all item level 180. My entire right side, only one piece was 180. And then I do believe I had one ring that was a vid accessory, and the rest of my right side of my accessories, my necklace, my bracelet, my other ring, all that good stuff, was all just straight strength accessories, so I can up my damage and help push the DPS phases of the encounter. So left side all 180, all 170 will be fine. Your right side, you might want to consider using some strength accessories to help push the damage of this phase. Especially if you're a paladin or warrior, because they can put out some pretty good damage in the fight. 14k HP is where you want to kind of be at. Anything higher is perfectly fine, but then again, like I said, it's not so much about the having the additional HP, because like I said, a couple hits back to back in a bad situation can end up killing you. Whereas, to me, it's just better to have the damage. So if you have 14k HP, some strength accessories, you want to try to be pushing about 600 DPS or higher. That will help out the group tremendously and make things a lot easier. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be the first phase of Bismarck. Nothing too complicated here. Both sets of ads need to die, while the DPS use the Dragon Lancers, the Dragon Killers, or those two little cannons to attach to Bismarck to allow you to do some DPS on Bismarck. When he gets attached to the island and he basically hits by those hooks and he gets brought into the island where you can jump on top of his back and do DPS, you have to DPS his carapace from 100% down to 0. If you cannot do this, you will not have the DPS required in order to pass the first, to beat the whole encounter. If you are a tank, you should, in the beginning stages, should save all your cooldowns for when you get to that phase, but you should be in your DPS spec to kill the ads because they don't do a lot of damage. It's easy to hold thread on and you can get it done. So let's go ahead and hit play. There's going to be 2 sets of ads in the beginning. You need to DPS those down, okay? And then, like I said, saving all your cooldowns for when you get on the back of Bismarck to do as much damage to push them into the second phase. We'll pause. We'll talk about the second phase, but it's really easy for the beginning. So I'm in my Sordo stance. I got my food on. Everything's going great. I'm going to open up with the Circle Scorn on my target. The other tank's going to grab the other one over there. Going to do a Fast Blade into a Savage Blade into a Royal Authority. That's the new level 60 skill we get for Paladins. And dodging the water effects if you can. Make sure you don't get hit by those long straight line AoE things. It's like reminiscent of Titan. If you get hit by that, it will knock you off, but you see how fast we kill it. Everybody's doing fantastic DPS. I'm doing my regular combo into the Royal Authority. Everything's going fantastic. Very simple early phase. Get these guys down, burn down real quick. Avoid the stepping in any type of AoE stuff that can kill you. That's all you got to do as a tank. Put as much damage as you can. Now, during this phase, this is where we're going to use Flight or Flight for Paladin, and whatever extra damage you can do for Warrior or Dark Knight, pop all your cooldowns here, and we're just going to pop the Flight or Flight. I'm going to hit my spells in. If I have Circle Scorn, I'm going to do it. My rotation is basically just Fast Blade, Savage Blade into Royal Authority. That's it. You see how we're doing damage on the Chidden? Very simple, very straight to the point. If you can't do enough DPS to get it in one go, you don't have the damage. Focus on staying on top of him, because if you do enough damage and you kill him, you'll get knocked off. First phase, 2 ads, DPS them down, be in your DPS spec as a tank. You might want to roll some strength accessories, 14k HP. Uh-oh. I think my I think my video just, my monitor just. There we go. I'm back. Okay, sorry about that. So again, real quick, you want the 14k HP, strength accessories, DPS in your, and you want to do be in your DPS stance, whatever increases more damage. I think Warriors just dropped Defiance. I think they got a DPS stance now. Paladins are Sword Oath, and I don't know what the Dark Knight have, but you just want to be in your DPS. 14k HP, strength accessories, kill 2 ads, get on the card pace. The DPS's job and the healer's job, or whatever, are their job is to shield the island and hit those cannons on Bismarck. You don't have to worry about that. You just need to put damage on the ads, hold aggro, and then pop all your cooldowns on his back. Do as much damage as possible. If you cannot take him from 100% down to 0 in that first phase on his carapace, you do not have the DPS to beat this encounter. Don't worry about hopping off. Sometimes you might DPS and you might fall off and die because he takes away. But basically, if you focus on DPSing and you have enough DPS, he'll throw you back onto the island. So first phase, that's done. That's it. That's all you have to do. Second phase, right? There's going to be 2 serpents, 1 blue, 1 green. Both need to be picked up. Both need to be on opposite sides because there's going to be tornadoes running back and forth, right? So take them on the edge. 1 tank on each. Pretty simple, right? This is the hardest thing. They cast a thing called Deadly Wind. If I'm tanking the blue one and he's casting Deadly Wind, when he finishes, I need to stop. I need to stop DPS, so I need to get a little bit of aggro on him, then stop. Watch which Deadly Wind he gives me. If I'm tanking the blue worm or the blue serpent and I get the green one, then I'm fine because you want to be of the opposite color. But if I'm tanking the blue one and it gives me the Deadly Wind and gives me the blue one, the blue debuff, and I'm fighting the blue one, every time I hit it, it's going to reflect and it's just going to kill me. So the only thing you got to do for this fight is real simple. Make sure you have the opposite color debuff of what you're tanking, and then if you don't, then you just walk up, you provoke, you do a shield lob or a tomahawk or whatever your enemy gang thing is, and you just switch sides. You and the other tank switch sides. That's it. It's a simple tank swap mechanic. You just have to watch for the Deadly Wind. When the Deadly Wind casts, you watch for your element to change. Make sure you're on the opposite element of whatever serpent that you have. And then if you look at the little debuff timer, it's going to tell you in a certain amount of seconds, like you have 40 seconds before another swap happens. So you have plenty of time to DPS. The way I like to start off is in Sword Oath. You see how I got that Rage of Halone combo ready to go? I saved with that combo, so I start off with that, and I was able to get in the Fast Blade in the Savage Space. You had that Dead Wind. I say Deadly Wind, but Dead Wind came out, and you look at that debuff right here. I got the blue debuff. I got 45 seconds to do my damage until he switches again. So now the only thing I got to worry about is chaining my cooldowns, doing my Royal Authority combo to maximize DPS. I would recommend about 2 or 3 Rage of Halone combos before you start doing that in case you got some really good DPS so they don't take threat off you. If you got some really super crazy DPS, and you could stay in Shield Oath, and that's fine too. But this group needed the extra DPS, so I went in Sword Oath. As you can see, I'm chaining my cooldowns, and I'm just making sure I stay away from the center little tornadoes there, and I'm also watching for the water AoEs and dodging those as well. That's it. Trying to make it so you don't get a lot of necessary damage for the healers. Hitting the tornado is not great, but it happens. But you definitely don't want to get hit by the water droplets because they do a lot of damage. 5, 4, and then 3. You see how it's counting down 2, 1. We'll go ahead and pause it. And now he's casting Deadly Wind again. So now I position myself to the right of the boss so that if I need to go and do a tank swap, I'm ready to go. So let's go ahead and take a look at the element. He changes to green. I'm tanking green, so now we have to do a tank swap. Very simple thing here. All you have to do is taunt, shield lob, you're already on to the next side. That's it. If you have Circle Scorn and Spears Within, make sure you combo those in too to make sure you get the extra little threat in. You might have to do 2 Rage of Halone combos. I usually don't have to worry about that. And that's it. You just want to keep your damage up. If you look on the right-hand side, we're doing pretty good DPS. We're doing about 600 right now during this phase, and that's about it. Sorry about the little bit of slowdown right there. And that's it. Very simple phase. All you have to do in the second phase is just do those swaps, avoid unnecessary damage, chain your cooldowns, and make sure you're doing your maximum damage rotation to help the group out. If you want a limit break during this phase, this is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And also, you just got to make sure that both these ads die before all the clouds turn really dark and Bismarck does his ultimate attack. If either of the snakes are up when he does that ultimate attack, you die. See how simple that is. Not even complicated. So I'm just avoiding the water debuffs on the ground. I'm just basically watching for the water droplets, making sure I don't take any unnecessary damage. We got both serpents down. Now, this is a real nice thing. I'm going to pause it real quick, because if you're a paladin, they have a new shield ability. I think it comes at 56 or 58. I could be wrong. I want to call it Divine Shield, but I might be wrong. too lazy to look it up right now. Basically, the way the shield works is this. It puts a shield on everything around you for 15 yalms or 15 yards, and that shield basically absorbs up to 10% of your maximum HP. So assuming based on the description, that means it's going to absorb about 1500 because I'm about 15k HP right now, right? So the way it works is you activate the shield, the healer has to heal you, it activates, and as long as someone heals you again, it doesn't dissipate. So the way it should go is a paladin should cast that shield, maybe a healer casts Medica to top everybody off, triggers the shield, then, you know, your scholar and your white mage put down all your stone skins or whatever damage mitigation debuffs and everything like that. And then, you know, it all works together with the paladin shield, and the shields, it's just extra damage for shielding. So if you have that skill, make sure you use it, and it will help because when you're transitioning to this next phase, he's going to do that traditional, hey, you're going to the next phase, we're going to hit you with the big attack. So make sure you use that shield ability. It helps out a lot. So we talked about the first phase. Very simple. Just DPS the ads. Get on the back of the Bismarck and just do as much damage as you can, save your cooldowns, burn through them. Second phase, Serpents were really easy. Just make sure you have the opposite debuff of whatever the snake you're tanking. You do your tank swaps and you just do maximize your damage rotation while tanking them on the edge of the battlefield, so you don't have to worry about tornadoes. Very simple. Third phase. Alright, we're going to try to explain this as simple as I can. There's different weather phases. There's a wind weather phase, which is yellow. The water phase, which is kind of gloomy and dark and raining really hard. They also have the clear phase where it just looks like a nice peaceful, you know, view. You see a bunch of clouds, no weather effect is going on. And the fourth weather effect is thunder, okay? I want to try to make this as simple as possible. The wind one, all you have to do is stack in the center. Now, I will say this. Right before in the wind phase, when all the clouds are yellows, if you're in the center, if you're not, the reason why we stack in the center, they do an attack that knocks everybody back. And if you're not in the center, you're going to get knocked up the platform. So that's why you want to stack in the center. And you're like, oh yeah, Viva, that's easy. Just stack in the center. Here's another thing though. Before he stacks in the center, before you stack in the center, there's going to be a lot of water AoE droplets in the center. You can't stand in the center right away because those are going to come down and do a lot of damage. So you let those drop first. As soon as those water AoE things go off in the middle, the little bubbles you've been dodging the whole time, then you run in immediately and stack there. Now, I do believe it's called Iron Will or something like that the Paladins have. I know certain tanks have certain things that make it so they can't get knocked off. I would just tell you to stand in the center. So the water droplets come down. Then you got a couple seconds to get to the center. Then they're going to cast a wind spell or a wind burst or whatever it's called. It's going to knock you back. If you're in the center, you're fine. If you're on the outskirts, you're going to die. So just be in the center for that. Avoid the droplets, get to center, take the hit, run back to the center because they also do like a strong wind attack in the center that hits everybody and it makes it easier for the healers to heal everybody. And that's it. So the water droplets come down in the wind phase in the center. Avoid those. Stack in the center. You're going to get blown back a little bit. And then you're going to stack back in the center. The only time you should be running out of the center is like if you're avoiding certain dodges or certain attacks, or you know if one of them the ads do like the typical, you know, Titan like long like AoE hit that's gonna knock you off. Avoid that kind of stuff, but it's pretty straightforward and very simple. That's all you have to do. After he does the knockback during that wind phase, if you really want to, you can go back to DPSing wherever you want, but I would still say stand in the center because they'll make it easier for the healers to heal you, and then you just DPS down the ads. You know, of course, the DPS are going to hit the cannons and you hop on Bismarck's back. That's pretty much about it. So that's the wind phase. The water phase, I don't really ever have too many problems with. Only thing I know in the water phase is that we killed the vapor bubbles immediately. Like, immediately. And if you don't, you suffer big damage. So, in the wind phase, you want to kill the vapor bubbles as well, too. In the water phase, it's more of a priority. You definitely want to kill the little water vapor bubbles or whatever. And also in the clear mode, nothing happens in the clear mode. Everything's just fine. It's just you kill the ads and you kill the little vapor bubbles when they appear, and that's it. So the wind one, like I said, very easy. Stack in the center. Just watch the AoE water bubbles before you stack in the center, and that's it. The rain weather, which is just basically it's raining really hard. You look around and you look at the background. Very simple. You just kill the water, the vapor bubbles. That's it, and kill the ads. Clear one, same thing. Kill the water vapor bubbles and kill the ads. Now, the last one is a thunder one. All you have to do is just be good at dodging the AoE effects on the ground. Thunderbolts will come down. It's not a big deal. You can dodge them very easily. Dodge the enemy attacks and all that good stuff. And do not DPS any of the vapor bubbles during that phase, because if you kill them, they'll do like 12 or 13k damage to you and you will die. So just remember, in the lightning phase, don't attack the water vapor bubbles. Those are the weather effects. You have to visually look for that. You should have one person in the raid calling out so people know what phase it is. Outside of all that, 3 ads are going to spawn. You're going to have a big one and 2 small ones. The big guy needs to die first because he does like this one attack that's an AoE damage attack that hits for like 7k. I'd advise to kill him first, or you can kill the small ones first. Either way, if people are good at dodging, then you can keep the big guy up. But basically, all the ads need to die pretty much as you're getting ready to jump back on Bismarck's back to do more damage. So basically the way it goes is the ads spawn. Big guy and a small guy spawn together and one small guy. Doesn't matter what tank picks up what, but I'd recommend that the tank can, whatever the tank can do more damage, that guy should be picking up the single target, while you let the other tank, who maybe has more mitigation and his damage is maybe not too high, have him pick up both sets of ads, because he can't do as much damage as like a warrior or something crazy. Like I would put the warrior on a single target just to have him just go crazy in their new DPS spec, or a paladin in Sword Oath if possible, like kind of how I did. You know, the ads do the same exact stuff. If the 2 small ads are alive by the time you're jumping on Bismarck, you're doing something wrong. You need to have more DPS where you can take down all the ads before you have to jump on Bismarck's back, and that's pretty much about it. So, ads will spawn, double set in one set. Tanks pick them up, DPS the big one down, then the small ones, while dealing with the weather effects and dodging stuff that just normally happens. As long as you can do everything correct with the weather phases, you DPS the ads no problem, then you'll have plenty of time to arm the cannons, bring Bismarck close to the island, hop on his back, do his DPS. One last thing. Damn, Debo, that's a lot of stuff to remember. It's not bad, plus you can always hit rewind on the video. When he comes close against the island's integrity, or I'm sorry, he comes close against the island, you hop on his back, you get a stacking debuff. You can only take 3 of these stacks. So the only thing that matters about this is you watch your stacks, you do your damage as much as you can. When he starts to tremble and get ready to break free, you hop off. And then the next phase, when you bring him back to the island again, you might have like 10 seconds before the little debuffs fade off. Let the debuffs fade off, make sure you have no debuffs, and then jump back on. If you have debuffs, do not jump on Bismarck's back because you will die. That's it. There might be a phase where like you only can get like 5 seconds of DPS in because you had to wait for the stacks to fall off. That's fine. That's alright. Nothing too serious. It's just a mechanic you have to deal with, and you have to be conscious of it. And that's really all there is to the fight, at least from a tank perspective. The biggest things you want to realize is that if you have really good DPS and you want to basically wear your most damage mitigating your items as possible, high vitality, high HP kind of builds, because you have the DPS that don't need your damage, so you just need to be as survivable as possible. However, if you're in a group where the DPS is lackluster, you might need to put some strength items on, accessories on, and then you also might need to make sure that you're in Sword Oath or whatever DPS spec you need to be in to help push those phases. Alright, so that's it for the 3rd phase, and you beat Bismarck, but let's just go ahead and just watch what happens. So we mitigate this damage. We get pretty lucky on this one because I end up getting both sets of single ads. So we're just getting in position, I'm getting ready. I always make sure I'm in Shield Oath, because if I get the double set of ads, I want to make sure I can hold ad threat. I only get 1, so I'm going to do a basic combo to start off with. And then I'm going to go right into, I switch to Sword Oath right away, and then I start going in on it. And as you can see, you still have to dodge certain elements and things that get put on the ground. If you're just good at dodging things that get placed on the ground, this fight's not too bad. You don't want to take unnecessary damage. Now, if you see behind me, it's around, looking around, this kind of purple class, that's a thunder phase. You start seeing lightning in the clouds, so we don't have to worry about anything. As long as we don't DPS down a vapor bubble, we're good. Really simple phase. I'm doing my damage. I'm putting out about 583. I think I'm going to hop at the 600. I'm at 628 right now. And see, when you have good damage like this, it makes a big difference, at least for an off tank. If you can put out 600 DPS, it's really nice because you can put so much damage on the ad, and then you could take them down real quickly, and you can just get everything. And it just helps make everything a lot faster. So as you see, we got 2 DPS getting ready to do the cannons, and we're finishing up the ads. So they got both the dragon killers on the Bismarck. We finish up these ads. Now you see how he's approaching? That's how you should be looking. You should be looking like this every single time when you put DPS on the Corona or whatever. Now if you look at it, we have 1 invulnerability debuff, 2, and then you're going to have 3. But usually by the time you get the 3rd debuff, you're going to be hopping off the back of the monster anyway. And that's it. And then you just go back into the same exact phase. It's really straightforward, really simple. Just make sure your damage is good, and you'll have no problems. So there goes another one. I get, like I said, I get lucky. I get another single ad spawn, because the reason why I don't want to have the double, because I know I can put out 600 DPS, so I want to be on the single target one to keep up that damage. There's nothing wrong with the Dark Knight. It's just the Dark Knight's more built for, this Dark Knight didn't have like a damage set. He just had vitality stats, or he just had like a lot of survivability stats. So he's more tankier than I am, but that's fine because he can pick up the double sets of ads while I can deal with the single set of ads and just put out my DPS as best as possible. I'm just doing my Royal Authority combo, killing the bubbles when possible. During this phase, as you can see, I do believe it's the rain phase. So basically, we're just killing those vapor bubbles immediately, and that's basically all the rain phase is. As long as you kill the vapor bubbles right away, you have no problems. And like I said, just putting out that DPS. I even jumped up 683. I was pretty happy about that. I'm trying to get it to the point where I can get my Paladin to 700 stable, but I don't know if that's possible. We'll have to see. It depends on the fight. But I was pretty happy about that DPS. And like I said, a couple strength accessories and making sure I have 14k HP. That's all I needed to do. Now in this situation, it's okay for us to finish that ad, because as you see, we got 13 seconds. 10, 11, 10, 9, 8. Yeah, it's counting down right now. You can see this right here. We cannot move and get on that until that fades off. So this was fine. Waiting like this is fine. And then we just come in. We do a little bit of DPS, which is better than nothing. And then we get off. And then, like I said, by the time it comes around again, we'll have plenty of time to do DPS on that, on the carapace again. Everything resumes normal. Like I said, as soon as I see this, I switch to my sword off immediately and I start putting in my DPS. So you guys can see how everything is pretty much just normal. It's just going through the ad phase. And you just basically, you're taking the little island integrity loss every time he crashes into it. So basically, your rage timer is basically until this gets down. So as long as you make sure you're killing both sets of small ads before he spawns, before your DPS phase and stuff, you'll be perfectly fine, because as long as these guys, the small guys, are not up, they won't do Fist of the Earth or whatever that destroys the integrity of the island. So you see how we're dodging all the water attacks, and you saw how those come down the middle? We're all in the middle. Now we're going to get knocked back. You see that? If you were on the edge, you would have died. So you saw how the water bubbles came down. I'm going to go ahead and replay that back a little bit. That's why I say you have a little bit of leeway. So you're fighting, and you're looking around, and I think hopefully I didn't... Okay, see, he says seas control the clouds. You see how it's kind of yellow? Now, you see all those water bubbles in the center? You can wait before getting to the center before you get there, but, you know, you just got to dodge them. So after those go off, just make sure you get to the center. You got a couple seconds, 3-4 seconds, and then you get pushed to the side. That's it. Very simple. And then you can actually go back to DPSing and do what you want to do, knock down the vapor bubbles. But he also does like the strong AoE attack, like right there. I'm a tank, so I can do that. But if you're really like a DPS, you want to be in the center. And technically, I should have been there too. But I wanted to put more DPS on this Vundu. So now we're getting them down. Now they're going to go ahead and start doing the Dragon Killers until up to target for Bismarck. We're going to just dodge all these water bubbles, and we're going to just try to get the ads down as much as possible. Now, I got 10 seconds before it fades off, my debuff, so we're just going to wait. We're going to finish off this ad. And then some people start leaving early, which is fine. And now we're going to go ahead and put some damage on the Corona. And it's, like I said, it's just pretty straightforward. As long as you get good at killing those ads, you have plenty of time to go through multiple phases where you DPS that down. So we hop off the back. Same exact thing. It's rinse, wash, repeat. It's so easy. You just have to have the people that practice it and get good at it and make sure they're putting out their damage. So I go right back to picking up the single target ad. We got real lucky because the Dark Knight got all the double spawns. And like I said, if I would have got one of the doubles, I just would have put on a shield off and just tanked them. Avoiding all the ground effects. Doing everything I need to do. And that's about it. Now, as you see, we're going through the rain phase right now. I do believe it's he sees and control the clouds right now. And other than that, yeah, I do believe we're sticking to the rain phase, which means the vapor bubbles have to die pretty much immediately. I'm pretty bad right here. I should have been on this a lot sooner, but I was able to get like a Royal Authority combo on that, and that took that out very quick. Very easy to kill. Avoiding all this stuff. Everybody's avoiding the AoE damage on the ground. You know, it's the big guy. He keeps jumping up and down the floor. He does a little AoE effect. That's why we DPS him down, so we don't have to worry about it. And now the 2 DPS, or I think 1 healer and a DPS, we're gonna go off and get the little dragon killers, or whatever they call them, on Bismarck. And we're doing our damage. And like I said, we're just putting DPS on a target. And like I said, we're waiting for that debuff to fall off. I got about another 9 seconds, so we might as well just finish off the ad. And that's very easy. And then 3, 2, 1, and then we're on the carapace. Or actually, it's called Corona now, but that's fine. So you see how everybody's doing their damage. We still have a lot of integrity left. We could take about 3 more hits. Don't do what this DPS did and actually use the limit break like that, because it's pointless, you know, unless it's like 5% or less. Because now we're down 1 DPS, but luckily we had so much damage done on the card pace we were fine. So this phase would have been normal and nothing too complicated. We lost the DPS, which hurts everybody. You see how we still got a lot of island integrity left, you know? That would have been fine. We could have took about 2 or 3 more hits, but don't rush it as a DPS. Don't get so excited where you just want to end it and be like, oh, well, you know, I just want to end it now. Don't do that. So, nothing special about this phase. We're just going through the regular stuff. And then, like I said, this is the win phase, so we need to get in the center and we get knocked back. So I remember at the last minute, thank goodness. And the big thing was we were able to still get the big guy down. I do believe we're going to leave up 2 ads because this is our last DPS phase. We told ourselves, well, hey, our DPS died, so we really need to finish him off or we're just going to die. So I think they ended up killing the big one. They get the dragon killers on the targets that they need to. And then, like I said, we're waiting for our debuff to get off because we don't want to jump on there with the debuff because we'll die. So, like I said, right here I was just kind of like, well, it's probably hella high water, so we need to go ahead and just go on his back. So they start DPSing his back. He's already low enough. We hop on the back and we're like, all right, let's just push the damage. We can probably get him, and we did, thank goodness. But never do that as a DPS. Don't risk your life. So we cleared him off. We finished the fight. It's a very straightforward, easy fight. I was pretty happy about after this, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Good luck in you guys' clears. Like I said, this is mostly just a video for the tanks to show what we need to do and what we need to prioritize and how things go down for us. If you want more of a detailed guide, there's plenty of other ones out there. But for all my future guys and raid content, it will be more tank focused. So I hope you guys have a good day. Hope you guys like the videos. I got more coming out. And once we get that Ravana EX and the dungeon videos up, I'll make sure I upload them to the YouTube channel. If you guys ever have any questions or you're new to Final Fantasy and you need some answers, questions answered, drop by the Twitch stream, www.twitch.tv/spsdebo. We don't mind answering questions, or you can just look inside the description for the all the social media links. And I think that's enough self-promoting and stuff like that. So good luck with your Bismarck EX clears, and I hope you guys have a good day.